Hi, I'm John Carpenter, and you will see me in The Thing expanded documentary.
U.S. number 31 calling McMurdo. Urgent.
Come in. Over.
Did you notice anything strange about the dog? Anything at all?
Strange? No.
What the hell happened here? Looks like something buried under the ice.
What we're talking about here is an organism that imitates other life forms.
Somebody in this camp ain't what he appears to be. Bennings was right there, Mac. I swear to God it had a hold of him.
It could have imitated 1 million life forms on 1 million planets.
There was one of those things out there trying to imitate him, Gary. We gotta burn the rest of them. Nobody trusts anybody now.
So how do we know who's human?
There's some kind of test, Doc.
We're gonna draw a little bit of everybody's blood.
You ain't tying me up.
Then I'll have to kill you, child.
You gotta be kidding.
We gotta bring this whole place right down into the ice. We're not getting out of here alive. But neither's that thing.
I'm most proud of this movie. I wouldn't change a frame of it.
Good morning. It's Monday. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the Morning. I am Tom Connors. We have a Canadian with us, known as Paul Chato. How you doing?
I am doing extremely well, thank you. It's my son's birthday today, so
Well, happy birthday to you.
Oh, happy birthday to the entire family.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. I have to make his favorite dinner, which is spicy cornmeal covered chicken strips.
Nice.
Interesting.
So that means I have to duck out and go shopping early. So
Awesome.
Family comes first, as I always say.
it's true. You're right, and it's nice to have a family that you want to come first. Because I've been watching a lot of police dash cam videos, and there's families there that I wouldn't want to be a part of.
Oh yeah, welcome to my world. That's what I do when I'm waiting for Andre usually.
Man, oh man. You know what? Alcohol is the bane of a lot of is the cause of a lot of problems.
Indeed.
Excess alcohol.
I thought Bane was the cause of a lot of problems and a lot of Batmans.
True.
Oh no. Go.
That also.
Anyway. It's too early for bad jokes like that.
That was a good joke.
No, it was not. It wasn't even a dad joke. That's how bad it was.
I think people
Good
at
morning, culture.
The audience laughed. Come on now.
Let me see. Where?
Such a bad pun. Terrible.
I'm sure that Bane at some point
Not
told
one
that man
person.
who's your daddy. So yeah.
You know there's a delay,
Who's your
right?
daddy and what does he do?
See, now we're talking.
How would you like it if your dad came home with that thing and goes, "So how was work today, Dad?"
Bye. Oh, I'm sorry. I hear your parents are dead. Boo-hoo, Bruce Wayne. And that's what I said. He should have been playing Bane. What the hell were they thinking?
You think Arnold should have been Bane?
Yes. Makes total sense.
What?
I'm going to break your back, Batman.
Was Bane sort of German, Austrian?
He was
He was Mexican.
Mexican,
Yeah,
but you could
he
have
was
threw
the Lucha.
Schwarzenegger in there. Nobody would have cared.
He would
have been better than Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. True.
Instead, they got Bane just basically like a grunting monster in the film. It's like,
you know what the tragic part of that? The bodybuilder who played Bane, he bulked up and juiced up so bad for that role that he died suddenly shortly afterwards.
Wow.
Oh,
I actually didn't know that.
Jeez, I didn't know
Way
that.
to kick off the morning with a.
Jeez.
that's a ray of sunshine, Andre.
Yeah, the studio didn't have to pay resids at least then.
I pumped myself up so much I died.
That third Batman was not my favorite.
That's not even joking. That's the worst of all. Check it out. Look it up.
Wow. Hey kids, don't juice up.
Yeah. Remember, like this is the guy who was supposed to be all green in the same frame as Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger was going to be in a suit that would bulk him up even more. He had to compete with that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not planning on bulking up anytime soon. I'm staying.
God.
Staying
I think Schwarzenegger could have played. Schwarzenegger could have played Mexican.
No, that would have been an insult.
Hola, I like tacos.
You probably could have in the 90s.
Ay, ay, ay.
Gone over too well right now, but yeah. But continuing the introductions, we also have from the great southern Midwest somewhere, Culture Casino.
Hey,
I already introduced
how you
him,
doing? Yeah, sort of. Yeah, when you were making fun of my Bane joke.
Yeah.
Oh, news warning. News warning.
My intro music. You be quiet.
Oh, okay.
You're still not doing the Powerball numbers because with the name Culture Casino, I'm expecting.
You know, I probably should do the Powerball numbers.
I watched your show last night, and if you adjust your jacket one more time, I'm gonna come through and smack you.
What, you don't like my jacket?
No, you just keep adjusting it, and I just wanted to quit with the hand. Like,
oh, okay.
You were like,
couldn't figure out where to put my hands.
Oh,
like a Pee Wee Herman or something.
I was breakdancing last night too.
Better than Rachel Reagan. Better than the Francis selection in the Olympics, I might add. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, hey, I can't wait to watch a mostly peaceful burning of Chicago this week. So looking forward to that.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Oh boy.
What's happening in Chicago?
So in other words, it's a typical day in Chicago.
Well, it's more typical because culture. What's happening in Chicago this week?
Well,
the Hollywood trades are covering wall to wall.
That's right. They're actually covering a political convention. Believe it or not.
Oh, is that the demos? That the Democrats?
Yeah. The demos is correct. They appreciate
the demolition.
Unintended hilarity pun right there. So yeah.
It's fantastic. So I was looking at the massive wall they're using to keep the people out. I didn't think Democrats liked walls. Yeah.
Well, that depends on who's on the other side of it. Voters or the filthy masses?
No, I wouldn't say it that way. But what I would say is that they really don't want their own party showing up. That's what the wall's for. The wall's for their own people, which is weird. So now you're going to have a bunch of people who identify with their political party that are going to be, I don't know, doing things on live television that nobody would be caught doing, if they were on another party, or they'd be going to jail. You're going to see a lot of misbehavior that is unaccountable this week. So it'll be fun.
Well, as long as anyone, if anything that they steal is under $900, they won't get arrested.
That's California. I don't know. Is that the same in Chicago? I don't know.
I think do
they have the same
similar rule in Chicago?
Mob rule in Chicago? That doesn't surprise me.
That's why 3 of the Walmarts have left. All the Targets have left.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's all these big cities with the same politics that are having trouble?
Well, Chicago's got a really ultra-democratic mayor, and he blames
he's fucking
everyone else but their own problems.
As opposed to the previous ultra left-wing mayor?
He is worse. He is worse than, what was it, that lesbian black mayor? The new guy is worse than her. Lightfeather.
Say it one more time, she'll show up.
Lori Lightfoot was the name of the previous one. Yes.
This new guy.
Hello, is this thing on?
Yes, we can hear you, Tom. And anyway, yeah, the previous one, well, yeah, they were able to get rid of the previous one and get someone even more radical in. So yeah, nice going, Chicago. But I'm sure we'll get more into that later. Until then, we have a couple of super chats. We have some box office. We have some topics to discuss today. We have the audience here. We have Santer Hammerstag is here. A Tipping Bond is here. Brian Needon is here. Fallen Angel D Links is here. Turin Machine is here with an A at the end for good measure. B-Man is here. Jill Powers, the River Daughter, is here. I see some names that were also in our member stream yesterday, which was a lot of fun. And Brian W. War Monkey is here, swinging the wrench along with many others. We have a cool show for you today. We'll be talking some box office. We'll be talking some aliens and their future of that franchise. And as you can see, we'll be talking some Mark Hamill before long here. So that's going to be fun. And then we have Ruby Hoove, who gifted 1 Midnight's Edge membership. Thanks so much for that. Everyone be sure to claim it. Dr. Long Dongler has been here for 33 months. We're glad to have you. He also sent a super sticker. So everyone, please smash that like. Let everyone know that we are live right now and get people to come in and listen. And we have a couple of other super chats, but we will get into them later on because they mostly have to do with Mark Hamill. So we'll get to those in due time. For right now, culture. I believe it's Monday, which means we have some box office numbers, don't we?
We do. And you know what? They're unsurprising. In this particular set of numbers, exactly what you expect to happen happened, and Alien Romulus led the pack with $41.5 million based on estimates. That number will likely go up just a little bit, and a global number of $108 million on the opening weekend for a film that a lot of people didn't really think would do very well. So $41.5 million and averaging $10,600 per theater. Which is a pretty good number. It's up there with some of the best performers of the year. I thought the movie was good, not great. And at $41.5 million, I think a lot of other people agreed. In fact, I hear some people are going to see it again.
Yeah.
I don't think you
hope so.
I don't think you agree with my assessment of the film, Andre.
No, I don't necessarily disagree. Like I explained in detail my issues with the movie, which for those that still haven't gotten that, my issue with the movie is this. It's not the movie itself. It is that it canonizes and reinforces Prometheus, meaning it takes a deep dive into the whole metaphysical debate about creator versus the createe, as it were. It's all about gods and man. Plus, where canon is concerned, what this means is that the whole race of aliens, there was never any Lovecraftian about them. It was all about Weyland-Yutani reclaiming their legitimate property, as the alien was created by one of their androids, David, as we saw in Prometheus and Alien Covenant. They were created in the last 10 years, and they're no older than that. And
we know why
the universe. That's my issue with it.
And we know why the new series is called Alien Earth, because it's just basically Weyland-Yutani suing everybody for their copyright over the alien monster.
Yeah. We'll get into Alien Earth afterwards here, but let's just continue with the box office. Anyway, that's my issue with Alien Romulus, and if people enjoyed it are able to disregard that and just enjoy the movie for its own, like I have no issues with the tone or anything like that, then cool. If you liked it, culture, fantastic. Nothing but
and again, we can always agree to disagree for sure.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, I was actually surprised, despite the fact that there were 3 endings. They just needed to pick one for that, but that was
my biggest complaint. That canonized Prometheus.
I made a prediction that Deadpool and Wolverine will take one more number 1 spot before Beetlejuice comes out this next week.
Yeah,
I think Alien's going to fall to second place.
Wait, I thought Beetlejuice premiered in September.
Does the first week of September? How many weeks do you think we got left?
Well, there's this week, and then the next week.
Yeah. So. Okay. So yeah. Okay. 2 weeks. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. I think you're going to be good, and I think that this will get its next round, which will give it about 20 million next weekend. So I think it'll be sitting around in at least in the States, it'll be sitting a little over 100 million just in the States. So
somebody's shaving.
No, that's this silly little personal fan that decided to start making noise today. So I'll turn it off. But now I basically just destroyed it. Anyway, all right. So then, yeah, it's toast. Anyway, so second place was not surprising either, only dropping 46% from its previous weekend and still coming in at 29 million, Deadpool and Wolverine. So right now, that film not only is the top grossing R-rated movie of all time, it continues to grow. Now it's growing slower. Its legs are getting a little tired, but at over $1 billion, I think it's going to be all right. In fact, I think this $1.142 billion may get to $1.3 billion before it's done in theaters. What say you, gentlemen?
At least that maybe.
I would have liked to see it do some more, but the early industry estimates were that it would do 1.2 billion, which is good in and of its own. So if it can stretch all the way to 1.3, then fantastic. That's it'll be all the more successful because of it. And I also agree that prior to Beetlejuice coming out, I wouldn't be too surprised if Deadpool and Wolverine reclaims the number one spot for at least 1 week. We'll see here, but I'm not sure that the word of mouth for Alien Romulus is going to leg out the way that many hope. And I also think that the box office for that movie so far is a little bit so-so, because Prometheus opened to 51 million more than a decade ago.
Yeah, I was saying there were some people going around saying this was the biggest opening for Alien. I'm like, no, it's not.
Right,
especially not with inflation.
It's the second biggest. But count inflation, and I don't think the opening weekend really.
Even Covenant did better than this with inflation, I believe, because Covenant.
No, that I'm not so sure about.
No, Covenant did like 38 million, like almost a decade ago.
Well, this is actually this film is the second second biggest opening for an Alien franchise film.
And that's what I'm saying. With inflation, I wouldn't think it's that. I bet you it's more like fourth or fifth.
Well, let's see. What did Alien Covenant open to?
38 million.
This opened to 41 and a half.
Then you are right. Then with
that's what I was saying, because it was almost 10 years ago. Yeah.
Attendance wise, that means that Covenant probably did beat Romulus.
Honestly, I'm more surprised that Covenant didn't damage this box office more than it did. This is one of those cases where I think it's been long enough since Covenant and enough people didn't really bother to see that anyway, that people just aren't caring. And a lot of people were under the impression this was a reboot. That was the other thing I heard coming back from a lot of people too. So I think that there's some mixed folks in this. Yes, some are able to overlook some of the problems you were saying, Andre. Some are just like, I can't understand how the critics are giving this a pass, because it's just basically the same movie all over again with just young kids, like the first movie, like the last movie. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where this lands.
Wait a minute. What did you say the film opened to?
The original Alien Covenant, I could have swore it opened to 38 million.
Well, do we know that for a fact?
I just looked it up like yesterday.
36 million.
Okay, 36 million. I was fucking close. Still, with inflation, I think it would beat that. It was like 2016?
17.
17.
Yeah.
Yeah, with inflation and price hikes, that means attendance-wise, Alien Romulus and Covenant are indeed neck and neck. And
that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised it didn't damage Romulus more.
May actually have had a higher attendance, which is not great. The good thing for Romulus then is the budget is what, 80 million?
That's what it has going for it, right? Because Prometheus, I think, had like $150 or $200 million budget, and I think Covenant was similar.
Like I said, this is very strange. I mean, you're looking at a production budget of 97 million for Covenant.
Okay,
So
Covenant at 97 million. This one has 80
yeah,
million.
but
That's in the right direction.
but the overall domestic. So let's be clear. Overall domestic earnings for that film for its entire run was only 74 million. It fell off 71% in its second weekend.
Well, yeah, because word of mouth got around on it.
Right. So as long
and
as
it also was competing with Guardians of the Galaxy too. That's the other thing I will get it. And the only reason I remember that is because I went to see both movies the same day. And I was like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy was amazing and Alien Covenant was a piece of shit. So it was like, yeah.
Well, as long as Romulus doesn't throw up on its shoes, you know, it'll have a decent second weekend. I again, it doesn't have competition for another week and a half. So
no, its biggest competition is its own word of mouth. So it'll be interesting to see how it continues. But we'll get back to Alien and Alien Earth. Let's continue with the box office.
Okay. As we go along, Deadpool and Wolverine at 29 million. Not a surprise. Like I said, the legs are starting to fall off, but it's doing okay. We get to the third place film, which has fallen quickly. It falls down to 24 million. It ends with Us, the non-rom-com that talks about DV and mistreatment of your partner. Gets to nearly 100 million domestic. Not bad.
Now, this is actually a little controversial right now, not because of the subject matter, believe it or not.
But because of the war between the cast, right, Tom?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of goings on behind the scenes, and it feels like there's a lot of people causing more drama than there needs to be because the director's not even partaking. But there's a bunch of people from behind the scenes claiming that Ryan Reynolds came in and helped take over the movie with Blake Lively, and that's basically the movie we got. And the director is like, was asked the other day to even add more fuel to the fire because there's actually a series in this book series here, I guess. And they're like, "Oh, are you going to direct the sequel now that obviously this is a hit?" And he said, "Well, I think Blake's ready to direct." Right. So, yeah. So he's basically cool with it, right? It sounds like, because I'm looking at it from his perspective. He's like, okay, yeah, fine. They did take this movie away, but doesn't matter. My name's still on it as director and it's a hit. He can spin this into a career. He doesn't need the sequel. So honestly, it could be all true what they're saying. And I'm not condoning it, but at the end of the day, the results are right there on the screen. How many other romantic dramas do you know open at $50 million? I can't think of the last one that was that big. Maybe Titanic?
It's interesting then that you actually have DV going on between the director and the star of the movie.
Well, is there?
Well, of the psychological variant in a sense, but
is there
certainly creative disagreement? But yeah,
between Ryan and Blake.
No, the director. Like
the director. I was going to say, yeah,
of the movie and Blake.
Well, you know what Ryan. DV stands for, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I was going to say,
yeah,
they don't live together. So, okay, that's what threw me off.
It's bad pun then, but yeah.
Well,
yeah, domestic usually means living together. Sorry.
Yeah.
Unless you mean the domestic box office.
Covers off a lot of damage.
Yeah.
What did you say, Paul? 50 million covers a lot of damage? Or what did you say?
Success papers over a lot of controversy.
I assure you that Sony, the production company, they do not care what's going on between the star and the director. They're just super happy with the box office here. And so are pretty much everyone else with a financial stake in it, even though the star and the director can't play nicely together.
Yeah, because you got a romance film playing like an action movie.
But
imagine that
80% female audience.
Right. I was just going to say, imagine that though. You make a movie for women, even if Blake came in and she took over the production, she's a strong female voice. Women are obviously gravitating towards it. Now, I've seen some interesting conversations between the ladies, let's say like in the Toxic Femme group, about this movie because of the DV aspect of it and how some people are now claiming that it, what's the way to put it? Say, excuses for certain aspects of it, I would say.
You
Would you
broke
put
I
up
that
don't
on
know
anybody?
why anyone would have anything against digital video.
I don't
get
either, Paul. I
Yeah.
really don't.
Who knows? Let's move on with the rest of the box office. There's
But
a
yeah, no,
fun movie coming on
Twisters,
there.
Yeah, Twisters is still sticking
hanging
in there.
even though it's been
Yeah.
on streaming for what, 2 weeks now?
Yeah, we're headed, I think, into the third week of it being available on streaming, and it did well domestically, 238 million, but it really needed to because it really cost far too much. But sticking around that $10 million mark and giving us an international box office of 326 million to date, we're looking at a film that supposedly cost $155 million. So it's got a long way to go to
And
get
I think
profitable.
most of that it's going to get well. And I was just going to say I don't know about that because Universal has that deal I thought with the second pay window, so they'll make a little bit of money, not as much as the first pay window, but I think this puts it in a place where it'll do pretty well because it'll make money because it made almost all of its money back in the box office. It'll do all right on video.
Yep.
It'll get a little bit of kickback from, I think, who does Universal go through? Amazon for its second.
I thought it was Netflix, but you may be right.
One of the two. Yeah. Either way. So yeah, I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, it's
same thing with Despicable Me 4, same company, same issue.
Yeah, so let's see. Universal's Pay One windows. I'm looking it up actually.
Well, their Pay One window goes to Peacock. I think their Pay Two goes to either Netflix or Amazon, like you were saying.
I thought it was Netflix, but
Despicable Me 4, the only thing about that that's kind of strange is I thought it'd do a lot better than it did. I mean, it did well, but and then you got Coraline that popped in there in the
like the 10th anniversary or something, or some kind of an
3D
anniversary
release. They actually showed the trailer before Deadpool and Wolverine because I saw it in 3D, which is weird because they were advertising in 3D, but the trailer wasn't in 3D. It was really dumb.
Is this a Neil Gaiman Coraline?
Yes.
I've already seen a Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, this is just a re-release.
It's a Fathom event. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that's a fabulous movie.
But that's pretty darn good for a little movie like that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
On a
No, I'm really shocked at the box office of Coraline.
Yeah, 9.6 million, not bad. And Despicable Me is still in theaters, still chugging away.
It's on video on demand as well, but that was where I was saying I thought it'd do a little bit better than it did. But I think Universal is kind of hurting themselves a little bit in this one and the Twisters by sticking with that 45-day window deal they have.
Yeah, but they're still trying to get to that $900 million range. They honestly, when they windowed this, they should have windowed it before Inside Out 2. And if they had, they would have been the one that had the $1 billion performer. I think this is a just unfortunate placement for them. But it still performed beyond what their expectations were of the Cone of Happiness. So there's that. Regardless, this film costs nothing. I mean, we keep talking about these things. If you make a film that costs $200 million or you make a film that costs $100 million, which one's going to be better off?
I'm not an accountant, but I do play one on TV.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul? Which one will?
And you even suck as an accountant on TV.
I suck as an accountant. I hated managing the accounting of my business. I would say buy low, sell high.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, it does account for the difference, the difference in how the films are performed. You can say, well, our film made $1.3 million or $1.3 billion. Okay. But how much did it cost you to make that? And how much advertising did you dump into it? And, there's a lot of other factors there for profitability for film and television. So, films.
I often wonder how much profit one needs to make now. So, for instance, just going back to Time Bandits, which is a long time ago, it was made for $12 million and it grossed around 50. So, in that era, that's a pretty good exchange, right? But is that multiple even adjusted for inflation enough these days? That a studio could make a profit of $100 million, but they're so far in debt that it doesn't make much of a difference, right?
Yeah, it's just weird, right? In what you're always risking with a higher budget is more risk
Of
because
course.
if you have a collapse, a phenomenal collapse on $200 million.
Yeah. Well,
versus
speaking of a
100.
phenomenal collapse on a $200 million budget,
Yeah,
Borderlands.
I knew we were going to get there.
Already coming out on video on demand, I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's going to be early. We're 2 weeks in, and this film is the biggest flop in the world.
The world ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not ever, but it's bad. And Tom, you and I think called this a while ago, saying this thing is going to be bad, and it is. $21 million to date.
I mean, I
globally.
hedged it a little bit. I thought maybe because of the video game appeal, because it's not a game I've ever
Well,
played.
listen, nobody wanted to see the Reds version of a video game.
Well, and honestly, Paul, you're not wrong. I mean, that's the main complaint I've been hearing about this movie. Is even some people will say the movie's okay. It's just the fact that they cast way too old for the two lead females.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I mean,
I have seen the movie, and it is not okay.
Yeah,
okay, I'm telling you what I've read and seen and heard people say. Okay, so there you go. I'm just passing along the info.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that the movie's great or anything. This was coming from actually a few gamers and such too. Were saying that, yeah, it hits on some of the game elements, but their main issue again was how it was completely miscast, and not just the ladies too, but obviously Kevin Hart. Everybody thinks like, what were they thinking? It should have been what's his face. From Idiocracy and stuff, who played Camacho. Terry Crews.
Yeah. It should have been, I mean, they should have really had good people that were cast like the games. First of all, if you're casting geriatrics, you're not going to be making sequels.
But just listening to the director's account of just what he envisioned the film to be, a bit of Fifth Element, a bit of this, a bit of that, I went, boy, do you have this wrong.
That's because I don't think he knew what it was going to be. And I think it was just a work for hire job with Eli
Well,
Roth.
not just that, but people who don't play video games at all get this opportunity, and then they go, oh, I can change it to whatever I want. It doesn't really matter. And the point is, no, you can't change it to whatever you want.
What's sad for him is he just basically spun his first success in a while into this, basically, because last year his big success was the Thanksgiving movie. And that's his first, I think that's his biggest movie he's ever done. Yeah.
And ironically, that movie, which cost a fraction of this one, opened higher and did perform better.
Did very well, actually.
Yeah. Good thing he has a sequel to that coming, but still, this is going to probably go to director's jail after this.
What's
but
the
anyway,
sequel?
Paul,
Christmas?
You are, of course, completely right that you can't have that attitude that, okay, I like the Fifth Element and stuff, so I'm going to infuse some of that. You can totally see those references in the movie. Now, I'm not familiar with the video game, so I cannot say if that is the right kind of reference to bring in there, but in principle that's the wrong way to go about it. Now, there was a time when that was acceptable, and that is when this was something completely brand new. Like, for instance, when the original Masters of the Universe movie was made in 1987, that was a property for children, so there didn't exist any adult fans of it who understood it or something like that. So they found a director who was a fan of Jack Kirby's New Gods comics, because he could kind of like reference that. Plus, he had directed the Conan stage play for Universal, so he kind of like had those references. Like, okay, I can take this kid's property that I don't really get, but I get these other things, and I can apply some of that to this. That was fine then, because it was a brand new thing to do that kind of genre movies. But it's not fine now. It's not fine now when there have been video game movies for 30 years now. Then it's not fine to have the attitude, well, I don't get this game, but I get the Fifth Element and I want to do that. That's not going to fly anymore.
Right. I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so every movie from here on in has to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No.
That's what you can tell it in so many movies that have come out, right? Influence in the writing. Speaking of bad writing, I don't want to get into it right now, but I saw the first episode that Vince Vaughn detective thing on Apple TV. I had to turn it off. But anyway, next.
Ringing endorsement for Vince Vaughn right there. So yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, culture. Any other musings on the box office, or just how bad the Borderlands flop is? Because
Well-
this is the kind of thing you can point and laugh at.
Yeah, and again, I think, Andre, to steal your version of things, Lionsgate has returned to form.
Yeah, they're a bomb factory again.
That's
All
right.
is right with the world.
Yeah, they are. And like you said, I mean, it's just, this is disgusting when you spend the kind of money that they did on a film, and after 2 weeks here domestically, you've only made $13 million.
But ultimately, the question is, when you put a property like this together, your biggest concern is what you're investing in is, will it open, right? That's really what it's about. And the building blocks to will something open is the property, the popularity of the property. Even if it's a very bad execution, will the property itself bring enough curiosity to at least bring people in the first weekend, which we've seen some movies do, right?
Yep.
So then you've got cast, and I don't think writing necessarily, or even reviews per se, have an effect. Although in this particular case, whenever you're dealing with a video game property, then those of us in the digital realm have a far greater effect on the box office of those things, because video games exist in the digital realm. This is our milieu. It's different from a rom-com. Rom-coms don't necessarily exist in the digital realm. Do you know what I mean? It's part of our parallel universe. So if the digital realm is already poo-pooing a video game product, then you know you're in trouble, because this is our space. But this did not open at all. The stars didn't open it.
Nope.
The video game didn't open it, and it could be just, the halo effect, in the sense that none of the people who play the video game were really interested in a movie version. So it was a bad project from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, there's a myriad of factors for sure, and I agree with that wholly. But like I said, you could have made this good. You chose not to. You chose a path of, as you guys were describing, something that was not consistent with the game, down to the casting.
No,
but,
no,
yeah,
it was a looter shooter. It's not a difficult premise.
No, it's pretty easy, and it's a pretty easy film to make, and it shouldn't cost that much. So, yeah.
I mean, it could have been a road movie that you want treasure from this one place. It presents obstacles. The obstacles are fun and interesting. Overcome those obstacles in an entertaining way. Go to the next place. Have new obstacles. Instead, in this movie, they had only one obstacle, which goes completely against what the game is about. It's one obstacle after another. How hard is it to do that?
Well, but apparently pretty hard.
Yes, apparently yes.
Just saying.
That would appear so.
Yeah. So no, we've got lots of we got lots here, but I feel like we don't have much more to talk about this box office, because nothing else performed. The only thing that's been hanging in there that's been surprising to me has been Long Legs, and after 6 weeks, I mean, this thing's sitting at $72 million. It's almost 73.
And, Focus.
Yeah,
Or, Neon.
Neon, I think, is a branch of A24.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. So, but I mean, look at this. At 92 million. It's almost at $100 million global on a horror film, and probably the most expensive thing in here was Nicolas Cage. So I don't know. Anyway, there's not much else to the box office this week. There won't be much to it next week, other than, where Alien Romulus is, and whether Deadpool and Wolverine managed to click another 100 million off on that pursuit of 1.3 billion. Everything else is going to fall off, including this It Ends With Us film.
What's coming up next weekend that might be interesting?
2 weeks, I think, is Beetlejuice.
The Crow comes out this weekend.
Yeah, and again, no one will care about that very much.
Yeah, Beetlejuice comes out the first week of September. That's what's...
You know what's going to be the interesting thing about The Crow?
Nothing.
It's going to... No, there's one thing. Is it going to dethrone Borderlands as the biggest flop of the year?
I don't know if it has that.
Borderlands going to remain on top. That's the most interesting thing about The Crow.
I think The Crow at least has going for it that I don't think the budget was nearly as big as Borderlands. That's one plus going for it, so it doesn't have to. I think but I don't know how much of a difference. My imagination is that the Crow's budget is around under 100 million for sure. So I saw a clip from it. We watched it the other day on Mead. You can't even tell it's the Crow. Like there's nothing about it that evokes Crow. And it just felt like a John Wick movie, like wannabe.
Yeah, it does kind of. And then I'm also looking at this. They spent $50 million on it. And
see, that ain't so bad.
And it's another Lionsgate film. And the expected open is between 6 and 10 million.
So basically, whoever wins Lionsgate loses.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad it flops. It's just
the beauty of it for them, as I was just saying, it can still play worse than Borderlands, but still technically do better because it didn't cost as much.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it from a pre-sales thing, it doesn't give you much hope either.
And The Crow is one of those movies that people will watch it on streaming and such when it comes out. They're just probably not going to give it a shot in theaters.
Yeah, but you have things right now in the box office that are over-indexing. Like It Ends With Us. That one was that over-indexed 67%. You had Alien Romulus over-indexing 15%.
Well, that happens in a box office that's kind of like the old school box office of the 80s, more so than even the 90s, when you only got a couple movies a month instead of a couple movies a week. Right. I mean, and Paul's and you guys is probably old enough to remember this too, where, I mean, the amount of movies that a studio pumps out in a year now compared to what they used to is insane. Even Disney, like they only used to make like 4 movies a year. Disney used to until they had like Touchstone and stuff like that. And now they pump out more movies than any other studio. But the average studio only used to pump out between 12 and 24 movies, depending on their size back in the day. And now they do that. For a while, they were doing that on almost every monthly basis in some cases.
Well, and then, we do have an animated opening coming up here fairly shortly that we keep forgetting about. It's that Transformers one.
Oh, that I don't think. Well, it'll do better than Mutant Mayhem. I was gonna say it'll do better than Mutant Mayhem, but I don't think it'll perform on the level. I think it'll perform on the level about. If it does as good as his last Spider-Verse movie, I'll be surprised. But I was thinking it might perform on the level of the first Spider-Verse movie.
Well, they think that will make at the end of its run 120 million domestic.
That's I can see that.
Yeah. So, but I'm looking at the Crow's full. You're going to love this, Andre. The full run for the Crow at the end of the American box office.
Let me guess,
domestic
15.
earnings. Yes. How did you know that?
I don't know. Sometimes I'm good with that because nobody's going to see this. If it opens at 6 million, that means it's got maybe 1 or 2 weekends left in it at best, and that means the second weekend is going to be like 3 million, and then the last weekend is going to be like 2 whatever, and then it'll sputter out for about a week or two. And this thing will be on streaming, just like with Borderlands, before the month's out, before the end of September. You watch.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean,
because I don't see in any world where this movie has some surprise audience show up for it, right? Because this is one of those few cases where you could go, okay, fine, you're making something for a modern audience. There are people who are aware of what The Crow is. I mean, as I joke often that Hot Topic basically became the Nightmare Before Christmas and Crow store. Like you walk in and you just look around and all you see is a bunch of Crow shit and Nightmare Before
Hot
Christmas
Topic.
stuff. That's it. Yeah. So, I mean, I do know that the kids like The Crow, but again, I wonder if they'll turn around and reject it because it doesn't even look or feel anything remotely like the Brandon Lee Crow.
No, it's a new tale, Tom. It
might as well not even have been The Crow. That's the stupid part. They could have been its own original thing.
Yeah. I mean, on the high end, let's give them their high end prediction. It makes 26 million. This film will not make a dime of profit.
It's not going to make no 26 million.
It'll more than likely lose, I don't know.
Well, for The Crow to be profitable, it has to make almost $150 million in the box office, basically.
Yeah, it's not gonna. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that would be fun to poke at because it is Lionsgate again. So Lionsgate has returned to form, And Andre will say all is right in the world.
So let's see what the audience is talking about here before we get into our next topic.
Yeah.
We got Ruby Hoove gifted a membership. Thank you for that, Ruby Hoove. Walter Tomaszewski says Paramount has SD to bail them out. Who's Skydance? Is that what he means?
Yes.
Who does Warner Brothers or AMC theaters have? Any other company on the skids we don't know about yet? Well, again,
all of them.
Well, okay, you're like combining a few things here. Okay, studio or theaters, because like AMC theaters and Warner Brothers Studios are two different things.
Completely. And Warner Brothers Studios, they actually do have someone to bail them out, because AT&T, they have an ownership share. Now, of course, they don't want to bail them out. The whole reason that they went into this deal with Zaslov on Discovery was that he would fix Warner Brothers for them while they just retain their ownership share in it. But in a given situation, if a cash infusion is needed, then maybe they can help out with that if they think that is going to pay out in the long term. But of all the studios, there are many I'm much more worried for than Warner Brothers Discovery, to put it that way.
Yeah, and I keep saying the same thing personally. Like, Warner Brothers is not doing it. I mean, they're not great. They're having some issues. There's been some stupid decisions made. I'm not making excuses for everything Zaslov has done. But the media has also treated him like Trump. Like, nothing he can do is right. And it's even people are doing it. It's almost like there's coordinated efforts behind the scenes to go after him. Like, a great example is like where he's writing off these films for taxes. It's like, he's not doing anything that any studio hasn't done since the beginning of time.
Yep.
And Disney did, 3 times as much stuff they wrote off?
Yep.
And nobody's saying dick to Disney. The only thing they're bitching about is Willow. It's like, did you see all the other stuff that they hacked? Nobody says anything about Disney doing it, but Zaslov doesn't bring out Batgirl in an Acme film, and everybody loses their mind.
Yeah.
At least everyone in Hollywood. But
well, that's what I'm saying. They're all like, oh, we can't believe you're not letting these people's art be shown. And it's like, well, they got paid. I understand. I would love to see it someday. But guess what? Zaslov has taken every precaution to make sure these 2 movies have not leaked out yet.
Yep.
Yeah, it's difficult to fault that.
And in the world we live in now, I'm surprised.
Well, it's
very easy to just make a copy.
Tom, you saw that news, right? You saw that news about the Warner Brothers Looney Tunes movie getting out of jail at Warner Brothers.
There's one of them that is not the Acme one, but the other one.
Yeah.
And this actually and actually I took some flack for this because I used that story as proof of what I'd been hearing and saying for a while, and that is that Coyote Acme movie didn't get picked up because it's not as good as everybody thinks it is. Because I read a very detailed breakdown of it, and guess what? The courtroom scenes make up about 10 minutes of the movie. That's why I said it works as a skit at best. The rest of the movie is about the relationship between the main character, who's a lawyer, and the other main character who can't speak. It's like they forgot that Wile E. Coyote used to be able to talk all of a sudden. So that's literally the movie, is these two having a falling out and getting back together than the court case. And then you find out, spoilers, because you're never going to see the movie anyway, Foghorn Leghorn's the bad guy, which makes absolutely no sense because he's never been a bad guy before.
I say, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm just a Southern country lawyer.
That's right. Said. If you would just keep your mouth shut, then maybe I can get a word in edgewise.
And guess why he is the bad guy, probably? Can anybody take one fucking guess why he's probably the bad guy and not Elmer Fudd or anybody else?
If I were to guess as an outsider, because he's Southern, meaning he's conservative, meaning he's a Trump supporter.
I say, son, you got it right on the beak.
That's right. He's a Rhode Island white.
Well, and of course, he's got a whole nother reason for what he's doing, and it's kind of convoluted, but like, yeah, it's just this whole stupid story. But like, yeah, it's this whole setup that Acme has been sabotaging the Coyote this whole time, but it really makes up like 10, 20 minutes at best in the courtroom at the end. That's it.
Maybe it's the alien
the android from.
It would have made more sense if it was like Marvin the Martian or Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd.
So very angry.
Oh, I couldn't stand you Earthlings anymore.
That's right. The Earth blocks my view of Venus.
Well, I suppose it could have been Yosemite Sam. I mean, because he's like pro Second Amendment. So
yeah, he even played a Reb, and I don't know how many fucking cartoons. Anyway,
we missed one of the cartoon characters dressed up as a woman.
Well, that's the thing is, can you do that anymore? Is that problematic?
I'm not entirely certain.
Yeah. Well, it definitely couldn't have been Marvin. He would not have been, or he would not have been the villain because he's an illegal alien. So,
but he is wearing a skirt. It may be a Roman skirt, but he's still wearing a skirt.
That's another plus point.
I am trans. Have a dog, though. And a dog.
And a dog.
He's my service dog.
My Illudium P38.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, let's move on here.
Yeah, let's.
We've got in the 22nd and the 3rd century.
But as far as AMC theaters, I haven't heard culture. Yeah, we didn't address that. Are they having some issues right now, or what's up?
AMC?
Yeah, is the theaters.
Yeah, they've got the same problem. They got the same problem every theater's having, just being on the border of bankruptcy at any moment. They need strong film catalog to bring people back in to watch. And they need to take full advantage of the merchandise abilities that other theaters have been doing. They've been doing some of the best popcorn buckets and stuff. So
I was going to say, I've been hearing they're actually doing pretty good from that kind of stuff, actually.
Yeah. I mean, well, they are. It's just that they need to lean even harder into that because there's so few films that people are jumping on top of. Again, we're in the middle of the summer blockbuster season, right? And I don't have it in the background anymore, but I'm just going to say this weekend they only made 133 million in the theaters.
Yeah, this is not a very good weekend overall, and that's where it's like, yes, Alien was successful to a point, but I bet you they were hoping for a lot more than that, and that's why I think they were hyping the movie so much.
Well, I mean, you're looking at a stock that is sitting at $5, and this is after the rating that took place on it, years before the consumer got involved and went meme stock on it to save it. So it's up like 0.2 cents today. So it's not doing well.
They should,
like I said, $5.
Yeah, they should take the lesson though that they're learning from these popcorn buckets and the merchandise.
Yeah,
and I wonder if they shouldn't amp that up a little bit more. Maybe add like T-shirts and other things, and maybe even pick up the slack where the other stores are losing ground with, and that's maybe home media. Maybe they should start stocking Blu-rays and DVDs in theaters.
You know what they should? Imagine if they had, for instance, the various Alien Blu-ray box sets.
You know exactly where it was going.
And then, you have like 10% discount. I mean, those would fly off the shelves.
Yeah, but especially as people are leaving and they're like, "Oh man, I haven't seen the original. I love that movie." You're all jazzed up, and you see the box sit there, like you said, Andre. Boom! There's a $60 sale.
Indeed.
Yeah, but it's one of these weird things. They've been telling people like since March when they filed in a 10K that they're worried about bankruptcy. They're worried about being able to consistently restructure their debt, which they did manage to do. They got an extension of like 2.4 billion or whatever a while ago, but it really hasn't done anything.
Why?
That's too bad.
Yeah. Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, and you know why it hasn't done anything? Because their former model isn't working any yet, and their current strategy appears to be, boy, we hope that things are going to go back to the way that they were. But the economy is kind of messed up right now, and audiences' habits were broken a little bit. So they're going to have to do something else to adapt to that, instead of just hoping that things are going to go back the way they were. Until they do that, and what Tom suggested here, I actually think would have been a really, really good idea to.
That's just
adapt.
one of many things they should do, actually.
Exactly, but they're not doing that. Instead, that they appear to be hoping that things are going back, and the biggest thing that they have is popcorn buckets. I want some of those buckets for myself, to be honest. But but
that fad's not going to last forever either. But no, you're 100% right. There's multiple things they need to do. Because they're still, most theaters were built that are still around, or were built in the time when we were talking about before, where we literally got like 5-10 movies that would come out every week, right? Well, back in the day, you'd only get a couple of movies that would come out every week. And, back then what you'd also get is re-releases. And that's the reason I'm showing this, because Gremlins here, this is the re-release of Gremlins in 85, right? So, like, that's what I think they need to get back to, too. And after seeing the numbers that Coraline did this weekend, and some of the other re-releases we've had lately, I think they do well to start getting back into doing that kind of stuff a little bit more, because we're actually at the first time in history again where a lot of people don't have a home video collection anymore, and most people don't even own the movies they watch. Like, most people just rely on Netflix and stuff like that now. They don't have even a digital library.
Yeah, I think that's very telling, and I think it's influential on people's over reliance on a digital product that can disappear at any moment. Because like many of the game stores in the video game side of things, when those go out of business or they stop supporting a particular game console like PlayStation 3, you can't get that stuff back again. If you bought all that digital and it's just existing on a disc, you can not have access to it again. You kind of are screwed. So, I warn people away from anything but physical media if you can acquire it. It's just the best way to go. But just real quickly, and my final word is on AMC. AMC has been in danger of bankruptcy for 5 years, like at any moment. So this is not a new problem that they've been suffering with. And again, it comes down to the investment bros trying to, pull money out of something that really we need to see survive.
And EK Tran, I don't know if there's not so much no space at these theaters, because I'm sure some theaters may have an issue. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the theaters I've been to, they have a big, huge lobby that they're wasting space on a lot of them, because they don't even use the front desk anymore in a lot of them. I don't know if you guys have had the same issue too, or noticed this in a lot, because it's not just one theater I've gone to; it's almost all of them now. You don't even really have the person at the ticket booth anymore. They make you go up to the concession stand and they take care of everything at the concession stand.
Yeah, and that's a big problem too. I mean, and there oftentimes aren't ticket takers, taking your.
That's what I mean. Like,
ticket.
there is no ticket stuff anymore. Like, it's more like they're more surprised when somebody's actually buying a ticket up like that, because that's the weird thing when I went to see Deadpool, is like everybody was actually buying tickets when they were coming in. They didn't pre-order them by the time I got there, but everybody was like congregated around the food place, when it's like, there's people who want to get food and there's people who just want to get tickets. I'm sitting here going, these guys are fucking idiots. Why don't they have somebody up front dealing with the ticket part, so that would help bottleneck some of this shit? Because otherwise you just had a bunch of people standing around and it was a mess. And so you had some people who were getting tickets, some people are getting stuff, and both, and it was like, yeah, it was just. So I don't know. I don't know if they necessarily don't have the space. There's a lot of the places I've been to, they're just wasting space, it feels like to me, because they don't even utilize most of their area anymore. But I guess it depends on the area. But anyway, moving on.
Well, lastly, just consider this. Most theaters, don't take advantage of that lobby space like they could for merchandise sales or, higher end food and beverage. And the weak offering at a lot of these multiplexes is hurting them. You need a little bit better movie food than what they're offering.
Chaos Sonic 1 sends in 5, says rumor just came in from WDW. Disney is scrapping the Frontier plans of Cars at Disney World. Oh, we were just talking about this yesterday. So they're not going to do the Cars World thing? That's what it sounds like? What are they going to do then instead?
Pro dropped a video this morning, just about an hour and a half ago now, or almost 2 hours ago now, stating that Disney may be having second thoughts on paving over that whole area and putting Cars Land in. I'm not convinced that they're going to stop doing that, because the group of people that are, paid to destroy things in the parks are, trying to justify their jobs. So it's taking out an entire land, which is basically what that could do, or possibly two, is absolutely terrible. And they've irritated the fans to no end. And I actually dropped a video on that early this morning, so that I could beat Pro to the punch. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it is what it is. But and wow, I agree with this one from Zardaw's
So
money
Satan's
here.
Retribution sends in 14 South African rands and says, I think Joker's 2 moment past it's going to flop. Do you? I don't know if it's going to flop. I think you're underestimating the appeal of Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Did you guys see that video of that gay dude flipping the fuck out and wanting his money back because he went to some movie and he was all pissed because it didn't have the Lady Gaga trailer before the movie?
Wow.
He was convinced it was supposed to have the Joker too, and he was all sorts of pissed off at the box office. Somebody videotaped it. Was
I love the trailer for Joker 2.
I was gonna say you're underestimating the Lady Gaga audience on this movie.
I mean, in a weird way, it's a romance. It's a rom-com. 2 really twisted people.
The big question though is, did they blow too much money on the budget for it?
Well, I heard the budget's huge.
And skit or not, Ron, I'll tell you this much: it may have been a skit, but Script Doctor said something that was very astute, and that was, "There's only one person in the world who can get you to quit talking about Billie Eilish, Lady Gaga, or there's only one person in the world who can get you to stop talking about Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga." Yeah, do not underestimate Lady Gaga. She is very big, especially with the female community. I think, Paul, you're honest. Like, the women are going to go flock to this movie. I bet you that this is going to be like a 60-40 women split.
Yep. Listen, the trailer has the vibes of a movie that has good attention to detail, as opposed to just a sloppy bunch of crap.
And there's a lot of women who love the whole Joker Harley thing for some reason. So,
and women, men view women as hobbies, and women view men as recovery projects. So if this is exactly what I think it is,
wrong.
where Joker is represented as a reclamation project by a woman, holy crap, this is going to be a $1 billion movie.
Oh, the marketing
that's how women view men. They're fixer-uppers. Men are fixer-uppers.
You're not wrong, and that's why they like the bad boys.
And you can't get them any more fixer-upper than the Joker in jail. That guy.
Nope. You're not wrong there, Paul. I totally can see this. I agree that a lot of the men that went to see Joker, I think a lot of them are not going to go to see this. I think there is going to be a drop off on the men, but I think that's going to be made up for by the women and gay men that go see this movie because of Lady Gaga.
Well, we'll see. Right now, Joaquin Phoenix
he's in trouble.
Pissing off the gay men, but let's see how long that lasts. If their annoyance with him is going to outdo their affection for Lady Gaga, and if there's enough of them to make up for the shortfall of whoever chooses not to go because they don't believe in the musical angle.
Well, and that all depends on if he doesn't come out and say for another reason, because I don't think it's the gay reason is why he quit this movie. For those who don't know what we're talking about, Joaquin Phoenix just walked out on a movie that was literally days before shooting. And a lot of people are alluding to that it was because of, it's probably because he didn't want to play the gay guy. But all the stuff I'm hearing about is he was fully committed to all that stuff. This is actually normal for him, I guess. Like, he gets cold feet all the time, like right before a movie.
Oh, any actor does.
Yeah. But I guess this is not abnormal. But I guess this time he actually like took off and they took it personally.
Well,
and now they're talking legal action. But yeah.
Well, the movie was the life and times of Beau DeMaio.
It may as well have been. It certainly was going to be that explicit. So yeah.
That's right. See, I'm a pop culture connector, That's
Yeah.
what I do with my
It's
joke.
funny you mention that because we have a video coming that actually is connecting Paul DeMaio and Joaquin Phoenix.
Whoa!
It goes to show that great minds do think alike.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't have the idea of Joaquin Phoenix in a Paul DeMaio biopic. I mean, that would be something. But yeah.
High Dragon Star sends in 2 and says, has anyone heard about Netflix House? Like the TV show House? Like they're redoing it?
Netflix is redoing House?
I don't know. This is,
Please no.
No idea what this is.
Now it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
They drove that idea into the ground.
Netflix House will. Oh no. Okay, so what this is Netflix House will let you experience your favorite shows and movies in real life. Okay, so this is like
It's kind of like Disneyland, but for Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I heard about this.
Yes, I kind of vaguely remember now. First 2 locations will be in Dallas and King Perugia, Pennsylvania.
So basically, there you can go and you can experience
Stranger Things and
Stranger Things and Emily in Paris Land, and I know that we're making that up right now, but yeah.
Well, on the thing here, they got Stranger Things. They got what you call it, that game show.
They got the Japanese anime that's a huge hit. Fuji.
Yeah.
What's the name of that?
Squid Games is one. They'll have a bunch of Squid Games in there and stuff.
Yeah, but the Mr. Beast has done all those. Netflix could have beaten Mr. Beast to that. Oh God, what's the name of that huge Japanese anime? One Piece. Okay. One Piece. Yeah. You could have a One Piece land.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder which licenses they can use. That's why I said maybe not Cobra Kai, but we'll see. Because I know certain ones that they own and then certain ones that they just license.
I hear their office lobby is pretty spectacular.
Well, and they've got stores now where you can go buy like merchandise from their shows and stuff too.
Good idea. That's clever.
Yeah. Callum Lyle sends in 5 Australian, says, despite the third act of Romulus, I was scared when I saw that thing and seeing it smile, and it brought up so many memories about the engineers. Ugh.
Yeah, that's my issue with the movie right there.
That just makes me want to hurl Callum. Then Callum says the voice cast in Borderlands games were perfect. Also, Warner Brothers is falling down. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah. I mean, I get a lot of people.
Maybe. Borderlands, I'm not so sure about Warner's.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see. Let's see. We got Joe Pat 87 who says in 4.99 says Coraline does what Diz don't. Get in theatrical audience for a reissue, that is. Yeah. Well, this is what Disney used to do, which they sadly forgot. And we brought that up many a time. Let's see here. I was going to say, do we have a couple more before we get into the main topic? You want to read that one quick, Andre, while I clean these up?
Yeah, certainly. Liberty Hall's Cat says for $4.99, thanks for helping me get my feet wet this weekend with a member stream. Had to cut it short, but enjoyed it. We'll catch Cultured Casino on his next one. Yeah, Liberty Hall's Cat was in our member stream yesterday, which is awesome, and you're all invited there, of course, because there you get to hang out with us on the stream. So yeah, that was fun. And Mark Field says for $4.99, they should have done the Iris Shaw story for the first female crow. That was a fantastic story. Also positive vibes to everybody.
Mark, this would have worked.
It's Lionsgate. So what
I was going to say, this would have worked had they done it 10 years ago as a sequel to the original or something like that. But if they'd done it now, I think the reaction to it would have been worse than what we got out of this. Because not only would they be remaking the crow, everybody going, well, of course you gender swapped it. Because not everybody is aware of that, there's that many crows or anything like that. To most people, like the majority of the audience, Mark, the crow they know is the Brandon Lee crow. Does that make sense? So, like, I think everybody, do you guys agree? Like, everybody would have freaked the fuck out if they made a female crow right now.
I don't think anyone would have cared. I think it would have flopped all the same. Probably.
Well, yeah, it would have flopped, but I think people would have. We'd have had. Well, let me put it to you. Let me rephrase that. I wish they had done this because we'd be making money off it right now.
This is true. Yeah, because then we could have people would have actually been a little bit angry rather than just completely and utterly apathetic, which is
Yeah, because right now you're right. That's basically the mood, and that's why it's going to only open to like 6 million if it's lucky. Like, honestly, if it would have been a female crow, at least we'd have been able to make 10 videos about it. And that's the one time I will say that, yeah, there's sometimes things like that. I just wish they would happen so we could have fun with them like that.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're always looking for quality content. That's true.
Oh, boy, I'd have had some fun with that.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like when the studios don't do quality content, it's easier for us to do. But yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do make great content, perfect. We can spend our time doing great retrospectives.
And we're going to come back to a bunch of the super chats later on, but we got the main topic to get to and a bunch of super chats about that main topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a few of those super chats right now and get into that main topic. How's that sound, kids?
That sounds
wonderful.
Like
Packing Proton sends in $10 and says, how exactly do you force yourself? Mark might be secretly telling me to have a good time. Either that or that is what happens when you die from force exhaustion. Oh boy. TLJ, and he's telling you to. Also on Hulu, watch Futurama season 12, an ad for pubic hair shaver with a model that would have looked okay if she hadn't covered it in tats. Hope that doesn't wind up on Disney proper.
Oh boy.
No. And then HyperGuyver2 sends in a member chat for 23 months and says, it only took 72 hours for the evidence of Mark's insanity to come to light, and of course, he will face absolutely no consequence for it. In fact, I think he said it more than once. Because the video you sent me, Andre, I believe is a different day. Because I don't think
that's a new one because he's at the Democratic Convention right now.
So he's said it like 3 times at least now, maybe twice for sure.
Oh, he's gonna be
I've got the original video. You sent me another video, and I think I've seen another video. Or no, no, there was one you sent me, and then there was one that Jonas posted, which is a completely different, where he's in front of people, same place, but it must be a different day because he's standing this time as opposed to sitting when he says it. And he says it much more, what do you call it? Much more aggressive.
Yeah, he's gotten some time to practice. We should play one of these videos. So
yes, we will here in just a moment here. Let's finish these super chats leading into it, though. First, Kamala Laugh also says with Australian 5, Mark Hamill is dead to me, and I think he let so many fans down. Yeah, this was I would say this was a pretty bad move on Mark's part. Accident Seller sends in 15 Norwegian krona. Says not to get you demonetized and not to sink down Hamill's level, but he can sack my mafacking donkey deek. There I said it. I feel better now already. Yeah. Well, I mean, my reaction to him has gotten a lot of likes. It also got a lot of people coming after me this weekend.
What did he do? What did he say?
Oh, one more second here. We're going to show you right now. We have Mark Hamill.
This is a mystery to me.
What?
I said that before, I say, may the force be with you. Unless you're MAGA, then you can go force yourself.
And he's been repeating this evidently, because as I pointed out, Jonas also shared a video of him saying the exact same thing, same place, but it must be a different day because he's standing and saying it much more aggressively.
Yeah. So basically, for those that didn't hear, what he said was, may the force be with you, unless you're MAGA, in which case go force yourself. And this is what he's saying to the audience at the convention. And statistically, by his own definition, quite a few of those in the attendance probably aren't going to like that because they would be. Now, on the end, Jonas, he also put another video of this here. So,
and my message to MAGA, go force yourself, all right?
Yeah, see, so this is a different day altogether. And then, and then the DNC is going on right now, too. So that's where he's at. He's at a Chicago Fan Expo because the DNC's in town.
The audience did not react that enthusiastically to his remark.
No, because probably more than half the audience are what he would call MAGA. Because if you just look at the latest polling and stuff like that, it's depending on which polls, it's more than half of the population, and it's more in the younger who is likely to go to these kind of populations than the older.
Yeah,
and then he quadrupled or tripled down by posting it as well. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, I was all I was going to say is that we now know statistically that younger men are identifying with more traditional ideas. So he's literally gonna lose ground if he's looking to gain future fans. So
well, I mean, there's a couple things. Number one is I hope he doesn't apologize. I have no problem with someone with opinions. I mean, or has an opinion. I'm almost more bugged by people who will apologize later on Twitter for their opinion. So
okay,
you don't have to agree with them.
No, true.
I don't agree with him, but it's the hypocrisy that's involved with this whole situation, right? Because this goes back to Gina Carano and what she got fired for. And now you literally have Mark Hamill going out there and telling half of his audience to go fuck themselves.
Well, Gina Carano's different from this.
Okay.
Well, she never went and told half the audience to go F themselves.
And in fact, I didn't even know she had what her political standing was until she was already on the basically the beep bop boop moment is when I found out.
Whereas
intersectional gender studies bullshit.
Yeah. Whereas what Hamill is saying here is that if you do not agree with me, if you will not bow down to the party, you can go F yourself. This is what he is telling half the audience, or more than half of the audience, including those in the attendance, which only goes to show that he's really in an echo chamber, and he thinks he's probably talking to a small minority, and that all of his fans are good, enlightened people, commies like himself. But that may not be the case, and the risk with that is that when he next returns as Luke Skywalker ain't going to get that kind of enthusiastic response that he got the last time, because more and more people won't be able, I should say, to separate the art from the artist, when the artist makes such a point of literally telling more than half the audience statistically to go force themselves, and by implication not to watch his stuff. That is not great precedent for that. I mean, whenever a comic book creators tends to go say, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book, that kind of stuff, that book tends to end up cancelled. And this is the thing that Disney don't seem to have figured out, because they obviously condone this because they let them do it. That this is really not a great business plan. I mean, conservatives buy movie tickets too.
Yeah, somebody said that.
Well, they used to.
I think it might have even been not Scorsese. Said, conservatives.
Well, John Carpenter and Kurt Russell recently had talked about this kind of stuff, how those two are so diametrically opposed politically, yet they still get along. And I think John Carpenter said something along those lines, like, yeah, why would I want to alienate half my audience? In so many words. And I mean, initially, I think you're thinking of the Michael... I was just going to say, I think you're thinking of the Michael Jordan quote where he's like, Republicans buy shoes too, or something like that. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, half the time people like this make these comments assuming that they're in a friendly confines.
Exactly.
So
this is the problem with living in a bubble. Because he's used to living in a bubble where they can say stuff like that, and everyone agrees and high fives, and then they think that this is the world, and it's just some weirdo MAGA people over there.
And anyone who doesn't agree keeps their mouth shut because they don't want to get Gina Carano'd.
And also, they don't want to insult him in the audience, in attendance, and those various fan expos and stuff.
Well, what's insulting is how much he's asking for his fucking autograph. Did you see that shit?
$700 was it?
Yeah. As I pointed out, he can go force himself.
Well, do you know why they do that? Is because when they sign autographs for free out of the goodness of their heart, people turn around and sell these things for $500. Like
yeah, but the difference is Mark Hamill's autograph is not worth that.
No, that's a different
much,
issue.
Paul.
Yes, so then it's caveat emptor, and people pay for it or they don't, right? I mean, that's up to them. That's nothing to do with Mark.
Indeed, it's also the simple matter of who is the most popular there and how are they able to manage the queue. You can do that quite simply by putting that kind of prices. So yeah, I agree that the prices are outrageous, but you know what that means? He is still able to command those prices, even with all of the
nerds are fucking stupid. That's what I'm going to fucking say right now.
Well, that may very well be, but there's
do.
enough of stupid people.
There is not one planet where his autograph is ever going to be worth that much. Never. Not even in a galaxy far, far away.
Coruscant, it's going to be popular.
It's worth it to the people there in attendance who flock and are actually willing to pay that. The moment people stop doing that, so we can no longer command those prices. Those prices.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Down. People are giving him an inflated fucking ego. Somebody needs to bring him back down to earth.
Well, you know what's going to bring him back down to earth? People stopping to go up to him and asking for his autograph and being willing to pay that much for it.
You know what I've been saying? You know why he's got to ask for that much now? Is because he's lost half his fucking audience. That's why.
He doesn't need any money.
I know. He's only doing, and that's the truth, because he doesn't do these very often. That's the truth.
I have often said that failure has prevented me from becoming the bigger asshole I always dreamt of.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that's why you got to leave us.
That's why I got to leave you, because yeah.
Well, thanks for being here today, everyone. Check out Paul Chato's 2 channels, both of which are linked in the description.
Anything you so much.
Plug on the way out the door?
Pardon me?
Anything you want to plug on the way out the door?
Nope. I've got nothing. I should come out with a high energy sports drink is what I should do, so I can plug that regularly.
I have to say, I liked your video.
Chato chug.
What?
That's what you call the drink, Chato chug.
My most recent one. What was it? The one on.
It'll get you going like a train. Chug chug choo choo.
Yeah, I think you're one of the few people who can give like legitimate insight to some of these things that people can take to the bank.
No, thank you.
I like it when you
use up what little knowledge I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, carry on, Culture. I was going to say that I also greatly enjoyed Culture's recent video that lured people in with Chato in the thumbnail. So,
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Chato is money in the bank on the thumbnail, let me tell you.
Use it all you want.
I throw him and Drunk 3PO on the same thumbnail, and gosh, my goodness, what people just run
most recent one. I have to see that abuse of my facial copyright.
Look, can you abuse your face?
I'm sure this is an abuse face.
Well, maybe if you put it right next to Grace Randolph, see what that does.
Ooh, hello.
Here, you can use this one. Hold on, I'm setting it.
Okay, I'll use that one. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you. I got a new thumbnail for
that. Licking Grace Randolph.
You guys are great.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you later.
Well, have a great day. Happy birthday to your boy.
So yeah, on Mark's part, like, look, it's the damage is going to be done to him at the end of the day. I get it. He can ask this much and he'll get it because
that's the
people
problem.
Are stupid enough to pay it.
Yep.
But to me, I wouldn't pay $700 to sleep with some of my favorite actresses, let alone $700 just for a fucking autograph.
Wait, no, you're what?
I'm being serious. That's a lot of goddamn money. Look, I could have got like almost the entire TNG cast that was at the Star Trek convention that time for less than that altogether. Shatner only charges like $150.
Well, Mark's no Shatner.
And that's my point, is honestly, I would say in nerd cred, like, yeah, Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker, but Shatner's, he's Shatner.
Yeah.
And I get it. He's doing this because he can and whatever. But to me, it's like, it's kind of, God, I just can't fathom paying that much for a fucking autograph.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, Andre pointed
here's
out
for perspective. Okay, for $250, I could have had a meet and greet with Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, but still, market decides, and there's enough
I
people
guess.
filling up that he can command those prices. It's as simple as that.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Simple as that. There's no more to it.
Well, I think he's have to make up for all the audience he's going to lose now.
I think your quote of Michael Jordan is the one that I always take to the bank. You know, Republicans buy sneakers too.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that actors and musicians and all that shouldn't be able to talk about politics if they want to. It's just how you talk about them and how you treat the audience. Like I brought up the John Carpenter one, right, with him and Kurt Russell. Like they don't get along when it comes to politics, but then they don't talk about a lot of politics because of that.
Well, I mean, you know your audience. I mean, more than anything else, you know, and I think Andre was right there too, saying that, you know, he believes he's in, you know, the friendly confines of like-minded people.
And increasingly he's going to be, as everyone who doesn't agree with him is going to fall out and not show up anymore. Then it's going to be more of
an echo chamber.
More of an echo chamber there as well.
Well, I think he's also going to find that that's going to limit his financial gains, you know, because, you know, you do have people who try to ignore his politics and still be fans, but that's not going to go on forever. So,
well, how long until he retires? That's kind of like the thing. Like he can do this now for the rest of his career and never really get any negative repercussions from it.
Maybe again, I think it's an unknown, but I think people are just going to reach the end of this stuff. And if you are divisive, you're going to pay the price with your audience because people are tired of that. You know, whether the machine wants to believe so or not.
Yeah, I obviously don't disagree, but that he can command those prices only tells me that however many fans he has lost, he still has enough to fill the that room, and who's willing to pay that, and that's the price that is going to make the crowd size manageable for him.
Manageable, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
10 or 15
that's what it's
people.
about. I mean, for instance, if they cut that price down to half, suddenly they can't manage the crowd. Literally, that is a factor.
I believe you. I just, like I said, I think he's not going to have a problem with crowd management in the future. So, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people are going to want to have all this division still. I think people are just tired of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Speaking of people, let's see what y'all are saying in the chat.
Let's
we got
do
Accident Seller sending in 100 Norwegian krona saying the MSM is saying Kamala's jovial laughing is a weapon against Trump on her campaign trail. But to me, it just looks unprofessional and she comes across as just plain frivolous, not a good vibe.
Would this be the MSM in Norway by any chance? Because the MSM in Norway right now has gone full CNN and cannot be trusted when it comes to American politics. Least of all, our so-called experts on American politics were the dumbest bunch, most informed I've seen on American politics this side of TikTok, basically. So, yeah.
Ooh. That might be uncharitable.
It is meant to be uncharitable. Because 9 in 10 experts on American politics working in Norwegian media are completely and utterly clueless. Yeah, they've maybe been to America a couple of times. They've studied how the American system is built in a Norwegian university and stuff, and somehow they think that makes them qualified. But have they been on X recently? Have they watched some Joe Rogan? Have they spoken to any regular Americans? Or do they get their information from CNN, MSNBC, and the New York Times? I let you guess once which is the answer.
Oh, I think their sources are PMS, NBC, and CNN. So
yeah, exactly. And that means that their opinions are completely worthless. And Well, I will say this, though. I was very, very happy in 2016 when I actually put money on Trump winning that election. And I was very profitable. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I bet.
Because I was in Norway at the time, so I actually placed a bet on a Norwegian betting site that Trump was going to win. Because to me it was very obvious, because I just saw everyone in America is talking about him as if he's the president already, whereas everyone in the Norwegian media is parroting that he has no chance in hell, that it's just not going to happen. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can afford to put a fairly decent sum on he's going to win. It's going to be a little bit tough if he doesn't, but I'm willing to take that chance. Yeah, I tripled that investment, didn't I?
Did probably very well.
And the funny thing is that so many of those very self-appointed American or experts in American politics in Norway, they were public about them betting money on Hillary Clinton to win. So thank you, experts, for building up the pot that I was able to collect. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Andre, you care to make wagers this year?
I would if it was still legal, but they made it illegal. It's gonna be dicey. Like, I think that if you just bet on the popular vote, I think the result is going to be clear. But then it's a matter of who does the counting and who does the certification.
Right.
This thing is going to be dicey.
Yeah, I think the problem is I think there are enough people that are willing to go to the wall this time they may try to do something, but I think that'll be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as the stuff that they're trying to use right now to sell Kamala, I mean, honestly, frankly, it all feels like it's reactionary stuff to what people are making fun of her about.
Well, yeah, I mean, the laughing and the latest thing is the drunken slurring, right, Tom?
I was about to see. I see that many people are like now pushing her drunken slurring on X. Let's see what happens with this convention. I hope that she's going to be at the top of the ticket, but I'm seriously afraid that by this time next week there may be another candidate and a much tougher one to beat. Now, I'm not saying that is the case. I hope that doesn't happen, but there's a non-zero chance that she's not going to be on the ticket by the end of the week.
You know, I've heard a lot of people talk about that. I can certainly see a contended convention coming up. I mean, after all, she was given this opportunity. It wasn't granted to her by voters in the United States, which is one of the big contentions.
What's sad is a lot of her side doesn't care. That's what I can't believe.
Yeah. Well, they don't understand. First of all, they don't understand democracy versus our form of government, and
democracy is dying, and Trump killed it.
Well, and the bigger thing is when they say our democracy.
Yeah,
our democracy, not your democracy. Yeah. This is the same thing that the EU politicians will say. Our democracy, says Ursula von der Leyen, and that dude whose name I forgot, who threatened to ban X in Europe. You know what all of these EU politicians have in common who talk about democracy? Not a single one of them has actually been elected by the people. They're all unelected.
Yep. Yeah, you guys have a big problem with that.
Oh, we do, big time.
And the weird thing is, anybody that's part of the EU, I mean, you're fooling yourself if you think that you have any control over your government. You've turned it over to a gang of criminals that are hell-bent on putting money in their pocket and removing all of yours.
I believe the appropriate term is cartel.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we didn't mean to go too deep into politics, but thank you, Excellent Seller. Callum Lyle sends in 5 Australian, says, and of course, the very white lions in Mufasa are the villains. And I've seen the real white lions. I bet none of the people who've made the movie have seen one. Aren't they endangered?
probably there's more of those on private hands that there are in the wild. I mean, you have like the big cat collectors.
I was gonna say they're a minority, wouldn't they be there?
Yeah.
White lions.
Yeah, I don't know the details about the big cats and their numbers in the wild and population, but yeah.
Well, yeah, people notice that, Callum. And then we've got Scott Hughes, who says, Tom, you are right. In the 90s, our most popular theater had a video store in the lobby right next to an arcade and concessions. Yeah, one of my, I don't get to go to it very often because it's a bit of a jaunt, but one of my favorite, like, personally owned theaters that's not like an AMC or Cinemark or any of that kind of stuff is this little small town theater, and upstairs is basically a video store, and then there's a big theater on the main level, and then downstairs is like 3 little theaters. But I just love going because it's like it's cool because they have a video store, and then you go back in and they have all the brand new movies playing in the theater. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Jason Webster sends in 5 Australians, says, coming soon from Paramount. Nicolas Cage is Mahatma Gandhi in Gandhi, Peace Warrior. I know what you're up to, Jason Webster, but
I'd watch that movie almost as much as yeah.
I don't need any water or food. I am fed on my anger over your face. Gandhi. Jason Webster sends in 5 Australian and says, coming soon from Universal, Nicolas Cage is Barack Obama in Obama, the White House years. Okay. I'm not going to do another Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't think of any Obama lines right now.
You know, they're going to bring back Ghost Rider in the MCU, right?
My face is on fire.
There you go. See, I got you to do it.
The bees. Brian Keith sends in 5 and says, Bane, played by Jeep Swenson, who used to be a professional wrestler, was also in Rambo 3, died of heart failure due to steroids, was 6'4" and 400. Wow.
Yeah, you see, that's what I'm saying. And when you're 400 pounds, I mean, that's a lot of pressure on the circulatory system. I have a friend of mine who is, I'm not going to say friend, he's more of a close acquaintance. Everyone who knows, who follows professional bodybuilding would know him because he's the only bodybuilder from Norway who's really, really short. And anyway, he basically said that, yeah, he has like health problems because his BMI as that of someone who is morbidly obese. It's just muscle, but the heart can't tell the difference.
It doesn't know,
the
yeah.
system is really, really struggling with all that additional bulk.
Yeah.
And this guy, he bulked up big time to play Bane. Again, he was competing with Schwarzenegger in a suit that makes him even bigger. He had to compete with that. So, yeah. Shame what happened there.
They say we can't do it, but I say, yes, we can.
Yep, you destabilize the entirety of civilization in the Western world.
Oh, we got one more, and then we're done with Nicolas Cage.
Sorry. Yeah. Coming soon from Searchlight Pictures, Nicolas Cage as Florence Nightingale and Nightingale Nursing Angel. I didn't mean to fall in love. I'm sorry. Thank you, Jason Webster. Tommy Reviews sends in 5 and says, went to see Alien last night and fairly enjoyed it, but the third act, the gear porn is absolutely fantastic. Wonder if Ridley Scott meddled with it. Yes, he did.
Yeah, we know he did.
Absolutely, he did. I mean, well, if you count giving story notes in advance as meddling, then, well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Cameron gave some notes, but it was already after the movie was made. So
yeah, like that's a good time. Like, hey, here's the movie that we have finished. It's done now. You want to give some notes? It's like,
I don't think they asked for them, actually, Andre.
The time for that was when they were writing the script, when they were incorporating the notes from Ridley Scott. That's when he wanted to provide the notes.
Well, the funny part of that is I
Done.
don't think they were expecting any notes from him, probably. I think they were just showing him out of courtesy.
Yeah. Probably.
And here's James Cameron just like, yeah, here's some notes. That'd be my guess. Because you don't show a finished movie to somebody when you're expecting notes, unless you want some editing notes. Which, James Cameron, yeah, he's not a horrible editor. He's managed to make, you know, his theatrical versions and a special edition that stands up right next beside it. And, yeah. But anyway. That being said, we got Tennille who says, why'd they cast the guy from My Chemical Romance in The Crow? Yeah.
Oh, they might.
Wow.
Question. Yeah.
It's actually a good question.
Not far off. Master Clockwork says with $2, would you force me? I'd force me. Goodbye, horses. I'm flying over you. Goodbye, sporces. That's what we call the space horses.
Yeah.
Bucky Cat sends in 5 and says, oh, go ahead.
Nothing. I was saying the sporces.
Yeah. Bucky Cat sends in 5 and says, how much do you think he made on the 500 to 700 per autograph at the expo? Oh, I'm sure he did okay.
Oh, I'm for you and me, he made a shit ton. For him, it was just since he has so much already, it was like a nice little extra bump of cash. But he would have made an amount that literally every other celebrity that goes to conventions would be jealous of. That's how much he made. Everyone else would be jealous of the sum. I guarantee you, he would have been very busy and he would have collected a shit ton over the course of the weekend, to the jealousy of everyone else. So yeah, that's how much.
Yeah. And then we got Pablo Papano who says Hamill is revealing how Hollywood, Disney, Star Wars feels about most of the audience. Stop supporting these greedy communists.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Done.
I haven't watched anything Star Wars in a long time.
Well, we haven't had anything Star Wars in a long time.
Yeah, that's true. Accident Seller sends in another 50 Norwegian krona and says, if I was a U.S. citizen and was a fence sitter, I would vote for Trump out of spite just to watch the left's reaction if he wins. In other words, backlash. Yeah. Doug 1985 VA Loves Horror sends in $1.99, says Brad Dourif had a better career than Mark Hamill. This is true.
True.
Accident Seller sends in 50 Norwegian krona and says, Andre, I can recommend Andreas Bull Hansen. I think you'll like him and his content a lot on here.
I do. I like Andreas Bull Hansen. I watch his content every once in a while, so I will further that recommendation to all of you guys. Check out the name that you see written right there. If I say it, Andreas Bull Hansen, you may not remember it, but just take a look at how that's written. Look for him on YouTube. This guy, he's a true Norwegian. He's like a proper Viking out there in the woods enjoying the outlives. Providing his commentary on the world and stuff like that is very, very based conversations. So, yeah, you'll like him. Remember all the shit I said about Norwegians who pose as experts in the American politics and who work for the Norwegian mainstream media? Well, he's the complete opposite of those propagandists. So, yeah, you want to check that channel out. Let him know Midnight's Edge sent you, and maybe one day we can have a conversation with him. That'd be cool.
There you go.
It'd be really cool.
And then we got Packin' Protons who says with 5, Tom should open up his own movie theater, 4 tickets, make it small, 1 digital.
Theaters.
Or 4 theaters, make it small, 1 digital, 1 3D screen, and see if Midnight's Edge chain can make it.
You know what? This is not a horrible idea.
No, it isn't.
But I actually, if I'd had the money, I almost bought the theater in the town I'm in right now, and the drive-in that would have went with it, but they wanted too much. And this was pre-COVID because like all the drive-ins and stuff had shut down. But I don't know if it's a real good investment right now unless you can get one at rock bottom prices.
Well, I think the thing is that you make well, we can talk about like I have been thinking something along these lines actually. So this.
Oh, so you want to put me into more work?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm down for Tom doing more work.
I'm down for culture having some more work as well. I mean, it's not fair It's not fair that only Jonas gets to boss him around. I want to fucking boss him around too.
You know, it's not going to be so
now,
funny.
like I have to be. I can boss culture around, but only so much that he allows me to. Whereas I want to be like, I'm your boss now. Here's your paycheck. Now I'm gonna boss you around.
You know, you're not going to think it's so funny when you got Mikey going, Andre, what is going on here? 30% of all our candy and popcorn and soda are just gone. And I'm like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I'm going to watch the movie.
This is kind of like the thing. Like, Tom, you need to be in the ticket stand because you cannot be in the candy stand.
You think that's going to work?
Sessions. Tom, get away
you
from
underestimate the fact. Okay, you've seen the movie Die Hard, right? You know that movie where the part where the guy's standing there by the candy counter and he just keeps eyeballing it, and then finally he just takes one? Yeah. That is every fat kid whenever you put anything out that's even remotely sweet.
Yeah, everything will be behind a locked glass.
And if
glass cabinet.
You've seen the self-resolve the self he couldn't even control himself, right? No. There's no way a fat kid can control himself around shit like that. Not a chance. That's like asking a crackhead to go run a crack den.
Well,
we'll have to get you in shape first. So
exactly. Well, even that. Yeah, I'll get into a shape. All right. Pear.
Well, you're already there. I mean, let's try to.
I know. Well,
into apple and then like something that
it'd be worse. But no, yeah, it would be kind of fun. I would love to actually, but I just don't know if now's the time to invest in something like that, unfortunately. But you never know. Callum Lyle sends in 5 and says, "Where are Rachel Zegler's parents? Because they've done a terrible job."
Well, not from their point of view. From their point of view, they've done an awesome job because they have succeeded where 99% of parents of other would-be starlets have failed. In that she is actually in blockbuster movies. This is what you have to keep in mind, that the parents of these childhood actors, they're not always what you would call the most loving and affectionate of parents, and they're very driven, and they want their kids to be driven too. And from their point of view, if their kids make it to the point that they not just are in TV commercials or have minor TV roles, that alone is a success. But that they headline big blockbusters, oh, that's as good a job as they possibly can do from their point of view.
I'd be griping because half the time we get like crappy DPIs and stuff. I'd be like, what is this shit? It's not even 4K. Anyway, Marks 47 sends in members chat for 40 months. Thank you for that. And then we got Accident Seller who says, "Okay, I'm broke from all these super chats." Well, sorry to hear that, bro. You didn't have to send us all your money. You need to eat, man. So let's see if I can afford it. Fuck. Checks Mobile. I hope you're just being
facetious.
Yeah.
Well, if you've seen the Norwegian exchange rate recently, because our government sucks so badly.
Say everybody's hurting right now.
Oh yeah.
So trust us, guys. We appreciate these more than you know. We know how tough things are right now. The Red Dawn Batman sends in a member chat and says, "Hopefully Mark made a ton of cash so he can take his granddaughter out to Disney World."
Oh wow.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, they reconciled.
Anyway, culture. Before you go, if we have like 2 minutes for another story, if you
of course,
quick, we do have to say because I did see this a bit ago. Yeah. Rip Phil Donahue. I didn't even know he was still alive.
Yeah, that was one big, strong Irish man.
Yes, he was.
He was the talk show host. So.
Yes, he was before Oprah, for Geraldo.
Yeah,
exactly. Mephisto. I feel bad, not trying to be funny at all.
He was 88, so
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. He's been out of the spotlight for so long that like
about he pulled out about 10 years ago. So yeah.
Well, he retired back. I remember was it the late 90s?
The end of the 90s.
And then he stayed out
some more.
Didn't he have like a CNN show or something like
Yeah,
that?
he did a little bit. Yeah, he did a little bit more stuff. And then
that's too bad though. I'm sorry for his family. But what do you got for us here quick before we lose
Yeah, we have a casting announcement that we haven't spoken about on the main channel. Maybe you mentioned it on After
Oh,
Dark.
is this Gila?
This is, well,
Wow.
I believe it's a legitimate woman, but yeah. Anyway, we can open that. We have a new casting announcement in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from Amazon. So, Tom, the link is in the private chat if you want to bring it up on screen here.
Yeah, actually, no,
But
we didn't talk
basically-
about this yet, but yeah, I did see this.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Ginger.
You all remember Teela, right? The ginger character, the girlfriend of He-Man. She has been cast with Camila Mendes, who is a beautiful woman, but she is certainly not
Teela,
not a ginger. Let's say so. The ginger side continues, and this only further goes to show that that they appear to be taking a slightly different direction with He-Man. But there's another implication here, because we have had our He-Man for a while now in Nicholas Galitzine, who looks nothing like He-Man or Adam for that matter. But with this casting, this is a first, because now we have 2 people cast in a He-Man movie. That hasn't happened before. There's only ever been He-Man and no one else before the whole thing has imploded.
It's true.
So this tells me now that we have 2, this just has a big chance of actually moving forward, for better or worse, and actually going all the way and happen.
I had a weird feeling about this one. Yeah.
We haven't had 2 people cast since the 1987 movie.
It's true.
Well, I mean, Amazon has more money than sense. Let's just start there.
Well, Netflix could have got it off the ground too, but I just don't think they were able to cobble it together there. And I have a weird feeling that this is going to be even more woke than the Kevin Smith one over at Amazon. But
is that possible?
I hope I'm wrong.
Well, anything is possible, but they certainly appear to be a little bit behind the times when it comes to casting. I mean, this has the fingerprints, at least to me. This casting appears to have the fingerprints of Jennifer Salke all over it, if you ask me. That's just what it looks like when you have casting like this. I think Jennifer Salke instantly. What do you think, Cultured?
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, she is the poison pill to all projects because she will make sure agendas and everything. So you're not wrong, Andre.
I mean, with her look, she might have been better as Evil Lynn.
Well, I mean,
but I wouldn't even cast her for that. So I have no. Yeah, she's only done Riverdale. Really, it looks like. Sorry.
Yeah, I have little hope for this project, but you're correct, Andre. There is hope, because this is the closest we've been to this actually happening ever.
Yeah.
There was a movie where Bryce Dallas Howard played Teela in an alternate universe, and we loved her in the role.
And if we got Tom Selleck to play Man-at-Arms, can you imagine?
Yes!
But, yeah.
Duh! Well, that goes without saying. And Steve Buscemi as Skeletor.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's for Masters of the Universe. Teela has been cast, signaling that thing is moving forward. And there was another series that's moving forward as well. I put that in the private chat as well. Just a
I see
quick
what
note
Shrap
at the
is
end
up
here.
to. I see what Shrap is up to.
Nicholas Cage has got you.
Boobs! I'm surrounding by bubbling boobs! Beast man!
And
Anyway.
the other one, this one goes out to the people who like Nordic noir. Because if you like Nordic noir, you may be familiar with the books about Nesbo's detective Harry Hole. A movie was made featuring that character, starring Michael Fassbender a few years back, called The Snowman. That movie was made by the wrong director, so the movie flopped completely, which sucks because I'm actually in it, making a small cameo appearance. Yeah, I'm in Snowman.
Well, darn.
I remember that.
Yeah. Blink if you blink. Actually, I'm in.
I've seen your cameo. That's all I've seen of the movie. I think you sent me the little shot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that movie is honestly not great, but anyway, it's getting rebooted for Netflix. And this is an all-star cast here. I mean, this thing that had just got 27 new cast members announced, including Peter Stormare. He's like the most famous name here, but really, I'm impressed.
He always plays
Russian. This is a who's who of all of the Scandinavian actors. Only thing I wonder now is, will they be speaking in their native Scandinavian languages, or will they be speaking in English for this? Either way,
so he's Norwegian. He always plays Russian. Or he's Swedish? Okay. I didn't know that. He always plays Russian. I just
yes, he does.
He was Russian.
He's the best on-screen Russian. No, he's actually Swedish. It's kind of like a fun thing, because you know how he really got a break in Hollywood. He's like because he's like asked in casting. It's like, okay, we know you're from Swedish, so we know you're Swedish, but you don't look like what we associate with Swedes. But you look Russian though. Like, can you do a Russian accent? Can you do a
Of
Ukrainian
course
accent?
I can.
And that's what he said. Yeah, of course I can. I can do all of those accents. And he's like, no, I can't. I can just do generic Eastern European.
He is the best part of Armageddon. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Oh, he's been in everything.
He's the best on-screen Satan as well.
Yeah. Oh,
American
no doubt.
parts, Russian parts, they all stink.
Yeah, no, and he's so good in Wick, right? Because he's at the beginning of the second Wick movie.
Well, he's great in everything he's in. Bad Boys, everything he's ever been in. I mean, and he's one of those great actors where the moment you see him, you know exactly who he is. But
and
like seriously, I did not know he was Swedish.
He's Swedish.
He was in like a season and a half of The Blacklist too, against Spader. That was amazing. So yeah, dude,
that guy, he's freaking awesome.
All made in Taiwan. That's the
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's Peter Stormare, and that guy is freaking amazing, and he's one of the best actors to come
oh yeah,
out
he was in
the North.
Constantine as well. Yeah,
and like best on-screen Satan ever. And the funny thing is, he doesn't look Swedish, but he is Swedish.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up.
No more Tom knows.
I'll hook you up with another very cool Norwegian movie he's in, if anyone is interested in that. But, yeah.
Cool.
No, he's just awesome in everything. And and now he's
Accent Seller says it sounds so wrong in English. Harry hole. It does.
Yeah.
Well,
the funny thing though is that in Norway, hole, that has nothing to do with hole, is a very common as dirt name. And you know
Wax
what? Whenever you have a Norwegian who is called Harry or something like that, when you have like a very English name that typically ends in Y, Harry, Larry, or something like that in Norwegian, then that tells you that that person is an absolute scum coming from the lowest of the low and the commonest of the common and absolute working class backgrounds, because those are the only parents that would name their kids something like that, thinking that sounds prestigious. So that in the name actually tells you that this is someone that comes from a very working class background.
Weird.
But of course, I don't even think that the author thought about, this doesn't sound too good in English.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Interesting. I was not aware of this.
By the way, this is a series that's then coming to Netflix, and I think this is one to look out for. I think this has the chance to be very cool, so I'm looking forward to this one. Just because, again, this is the who's who of Scandi actors. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Scandi actors sounds like something you catch at the strip club.
Yeah, well, or something, or at the DNC convention. So there you go.
If you got like 2 more minutes, we got like 2 more super chats if you want to stick around till the end of the show.
Why not? Sure. Yeah.
Unless you had anything else, Andre. I don't think we did we?
Yeah, actually, one thing. There's a fun. Peter Stormare, this guy, you haven't seen this, but he is actually in a Swedish movie with Mark Hamill, which is fairly cool. That was directed by a Norwegian.
Okay.
I'll hook you up with that movie for sure.
All right.
And it's called Hamill.
Oh, I thought it was Hot Volkswagen Summer. There's a deep dive joke there.
Indeed. No, let's move on here.
Yeah, let's. Packing Proton sends in 5 and says, "I wonder how Mark Hamill's lines are at these days at cons. Blah. His price is limiting attendance, or is his anti-American comments?" Well, Packing Protons, as I did point out, he does not do nearly the same amount of conventions as like the Trek people do. And the only reason he's doing this one is because I guarantee you is because this fan event, this fan expo happened to fall right at the same time as the DNC event. That's why.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there. Because otherwise, yeah, he's not like Shatner who goes to like all these things.
Well, Shatner's doing it because he maybe his last time doing it. I mean, let's be fair.
Well, and he is royalty when he does these things.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, kind of like Kevin Smith used to be, and Stan Lee was. Yeah, like he was always a big deal when he was there.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I can see it hurting his line a little bit. Bucky Cat sends in 5 and says, "What do you guys think about The Gentleman on Netflix? Saw the first 2 episodes. Seems to be very good."
Oh, it's great. Oh, it's great. Yeah, The Gentleman. Yeah, you absolutely need to watch that.
I'll check it out after I've seen the movie.
Oh yeah, the movie's fantastic, kid. Definitely. Yeah.
We got Action Com here who sends in 5 and says, "Since Det Hol is FBI trained, Detective Hol."
Yeah,
that's how we were talking
correct.
Swedish again.
Wow. The FBI.
Does he look like the other? Does he look the other way when the government is involved or cremate assassins' bodies?
Yeah, this is a reference to that movie featuring Peter Stormare, the other one with Mark Hamill, where he is actually an FBI trained commando, and over the course of that movie, he goes into the Russian tundra and he executes a bunch of Russians and cremates them on the spot. No, I do not think that Hole went to that particular course. No, I'm impressed that you have seen Hamilton, by the way. I wouldn't have thought that you did that, but yeah, that's a cool movie, cool scene.
We got the nerdiest of nerds here. Are you kidding?
Yes,
yeah, we do.
We win.
That's right. And then Accident Seller says, "Andre, in what scene are you the background actor? What do we look for?" Well, you look for a blue jacket, right? Or was it a blue jacket?
This is correct. I'm in 2 scenes. One scene is when Michael Fassbender, the main detective, arrives to a neighborhood in Drammen, and then I am one of the neighbors who is on looking, and I am the very tall guy with a dark blue jacket and an inverted hoodie. That's me. That's in one scene. And then the other is when the detective is at a theater or something like that with his adopted son. And then I'm somewhere on the screen where you basically have like the crowd shot. I'm there in the crowd somewhere. But we have to hurry on because
we do.
Because Styx needs to go to the bathroom.
Wow.
All right. Well, George is in the house at the last minute. Hey, George, how you doing, buddy? Sends in $9.99. Says, "All hail Midnight's Edge and the amazing minds that make Hollywood tremble. Love you guys." Well, if you had you made your presence known sooner, I'd have sent you the link. But
yeah,
we're just heading out the door now, actually, because 6 has to pee. So
indeed.
With that, we'll get out of here so 6 can go to the bathroom. Culture, you got anything coming up you want to plug?
I dropped a very great video today that YouTube is suppressing. YouTube's suppressing me entirely. I am less than 100 subscribers away from 25K, and it has been 2 months that they've been like keeping me down, like from 500, then knocking me down, then letting me rise back up. So, look, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you've never been to the channel, go visit the channel, watch today's video. And you know what? Subscribe, please. It's free. So thanks.
Yes, and I support that. Go check out Cultured Casino, and also check out his other channel, That Game Place. Links for both are in the description.
Hey, thank you, Andre.
All right, and I'm not 100% sure there's going to be Toxic Femme later on tonight, guys. So there's a 50-50 chance right now. Well, Nina's out of town, so it all depends on if at least enough of the other ladies are around to do a show or not, because I don't see the point in doing a show if it's me and 1 or 2 other ladies. Not quite Toxic Femme.
You should have all dudes on the Toxic Femme.
That would not be Toxic Femme then, Culture.
You don't know that.
That would just be a regular show on YouTube.
All right.
The gender bent toxic femininity.
I think
well,
we
if you
should
show up in a brassiere and wigs, maybe I'll think about it.
Oh, okay.
Of course. You know, that scares me how quickly you were like to jump on that one. You're just like, oh yeah, I'll fucking do it. Like you're almost excited. I think we need to start questioning your sexuality.
Well, we can all probably identify as chicks for the evening. I hear that's okay now, in honor of the Democratic Convention
and the Olympics.
Yeah,
and maybe I'll do some breakdancing.
Dudes won 2 gold even in the Olympics in the women's sports.
2 women's gold. Yeah,
indeed.
So with that though, it is time for
6 to go to the bathroom, meaning let's bring out the koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koalas